we're gonna jump right into the Q&A, mining and smithing concept. I'm gonna do my best here because I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm like not awake yet. Just a little secret between you and me. I literally got out of bed like maybe I don't even like a half an hour ago, and I'm just like Anyway, so I apologize if I'm kind of stuttering and stammering. I was just like I thought I had more time than I did, so I just rushed into, and now I'm like brain is not. My brain is trying to keep up with everything else, and it's we're having minor kernel panics here and there. Let's see here. We have here. Yeah, see, I'm literally just like, what's happening? What am I doing? What's going on? Let's talk mining and smithing rework concept. I have to say, I was not overly impressed, but it is just a concept. It seems the community is vehemently against bringing these skills to 120. And I am vehemently against their vehemence against that fact. So I'm not happy, to say the least. But what are you gonna do?
That comes up later in the slides.
Yes, it does.
That pissed me off as well.
It did, yeah.
I don't understand why people wouldn't with such endgame content.
Yeah, go ahead.
With such endgame content, I just don't understand why people don't want to have the skills. Getting that longevity of having more content. I mean, everyone's going for 120 virtual levels anyway, so let's get some content in there to do it. So
exactly, yeah. I had a little like breakdown in chat last night. Go ahead, Gio.
So let's just talk about this for a second. So everyone's saying no 120s, and you guys are saying yes to 120s. So
no, only on a skill, only on a different skill, not just mining, not mining.
Okay, so let me just talk first off about this mining and smithing thing. 120, I think, is a good thing, and it needs to be done one skill at a time. I mean, that's my opinion. It needs to be slowly rolled in because
you can't do it one skill at a time when skills come in pairs like mining and smithing.
Yes. You'd have to do them both together.
Oh, of course.
It wouldn't make any sense.
And there's a reason right now that, in my opinion, it does not make sense to do mining and smithing to 120.
Why? You've provided information but nothing to back up your argument.
And I'm going to back up my argument right now.
Go ahead.
So first off, we don't have. I like the way that they're doing this rework. I like how they're doing the tiers. How tier 90 would be like tier 82 actually, and how it doesn't overpower a lot of
no one's going to use this gear.
Sponsors.
No one is going to use this gear. I'm going to call this right now. No one is going to use this gear.
You're wrong. Iron Men are going to use this gear.
Okay. Yeah, and guess what? Nobody can sell anything to Iron Men, so skillers are still in the freaking dust as far as money making goes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. I think it will breathe some life into it. It's interesting. It's cool. It's augmentable. First off, it will be augmentable at least. And if we did release this to 120, and we're going to have, we would have, like with this style of rework, we would have to have gear to support that. And we don't have the levels and combats to get that type of gear. And it would also devalue a lot of bosses. That's just how I feel about it.
What my counter argument there is, I mean, I totally agree. And no mage, I mean, I think more than just Iron Man will use it, because if you're slaying, who wants to take their degradable armor when you can now smith tier 70 and 80
Who's to say those armors won't be degradable? They didn't say anything about that.
They'd have to be easily repairable.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Even if they do degrade, you'll be able to repair them fairly easily because you'll have the stuff. So that gives the skill of something there on those mid-level Slayer and sort of higher level Slayer bosses.
We've thrown the skillers a bone.
Who you're not going to sit there and you're not going to take your Tetsu or your Malevolent too. So it does give us the opportunity there. Yes, it'll be fantastic for Iron Men, and that'll encourage them to get all their skills up. But the biggest thing is they're doing a full rework. Now is the time to do it. You don't need to have armors and such above that, but you can have. They're talking about this cavern and such. That's where you want to have that at level 99. Go into that cavern and find those new ores, and they can add content as we go on down the track. They've got it there to do. Do it now and get people used to it than waiting another 3 or 4 years.
Listen, as far as gear going over tier 99, I get that. But
Yeah.
there's plenty of other things that can be done after 99 that add value to gear. As they were trying, we'll get into the fact that some of the things that they were talking about as far as content past 99 and whatnot.
I could see that. I mean, just making the
But like pieces that you like, augmented things that you like, being able to augment gear after 99, I would be at the very least some value, giving some value to skillers, like, because like, a lot of PVMers aren't going to want to train those skills, right? Okay, well, fine. Well, the skillers do want to train those skills and want to be able to be valued members of the community and also be able to make money as well. It's just, this was really my hope. This was really kind of my last hope, that there was going to be some level of equality between skillers and PVMers with this update. I wanted to see something that would make it viable to be a skiller in this game again.
Let's look at it seriously, though. I mean, they are making it a level playing field for you skillers as well as you combat.
How?
You're getting skilling pets.
Oh, you.
Sorry.
Let me grab some stuff from the chat. Let me grab some stuff from the chat here real quick. Mort saying, as combat only reaches net level 99 currently, it may be beneficial to all if we refrain from extending the skill until combat gear is reaching past 99. Like, again, so I mean, my response to that, I think I kind of accidentally answered that. I at least rebutted that in a sense, as far as just like, it doesn't have to be necessarily more gear after 99, but little things that add perks to your armor, similar to how it may be, certain things that would maybe require invention or whatnot, or just they may be temporary perks where you boost an armor with a special thing and it lasts for like 4 hours of logged in time or weird time, and then it just wears off. And only a 118 or whatever smither can put X gear onto this, but it's still tradable. So you could be like, hey, put this on my armor, or whatever, or sell me this and I'll whatever. That's what I want to see. And I mean, the mine shaft is a really cool idea. We'll get into all of that very shortly here, but yeah, I don't know. I really wanted to see some viability. I mean, they really made it sound like in the survey that they wanted to make it viable for skillers to make decent profit. I'm not talking about like Virago and Rot's level of profit, but like at least something along the lines of like QBD levels of profit. From something
I think
that was minorly, and I was also hoping it would be more intensive than this. Like, I wanted to see, everyone needs their AFK skills. Nobody wants to actually play the freaking game. Like, I was totally fine with them making it difficult in order for the skill to be profitable, but no one seems to want to actually do that.
And that's where when they were talking about, go
ahead, Shadow.
I think all skills should be 120, but I don't know if this is the right place to start. I mean,
why is 120 Slayer okay? Why is 120 Slayer perfectly fine, but when we start talking about skills that aren't Slayer or combat based, then it's not okay?
Because because of the player base. I mean, the people are weird.
You got that right.
I love Zenel's gift there.
Listen, the people are weird, and they want skills like Slayer first. And if we throw, I mean, the PVM community is a very selfish community. Sorry, guys. It's true, though. So if we give them a little bit of what they want, they won't mind if we get what we want after.
But, Slayer is my favorite skill, and I can't wait for 120 Slayer. I would have preferred to see mining and smithing coming out at the 120, and with, as Mage said, with the shafts and such that they were talking about, you're going down there. There's danger to go down there, so there is a risk for the miners to do that, and the smithers, to get the ore out to do all that. So they've got that risk versus reward type thing. They
makes me feel.
No, I love that idea. In that regard, so you can do it a slow way, or you can do it this way where you get those big drops. You get those, you can attach it, you can make something that people can attach to their armor and do that. And then as the Slayer comes out, okay, now we've got these in game, we can make these, and we can make some Slayer bosses around these things that the miners and smithers have done. Attach that, which will help you kill this new boss that or this new elite Slayer creature that we've got coming in. They had a perfect opportunity with this update to be able to do that, and I think really they're kowtowing to that vocal minority once again of people saying they don't want 120. Bullshit. Every person I have talked to wants 120 skills, and and everyone I thought was expecting this mining smithing rework to take it to 120. But they're telling me, they had 76% of people saying no. That I cannot believe. 76% of people. How many people do they speak to? 6?
Yeah, after we just had a poll where 45% of people say they don't even boss.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I want to read it. Hang on, guys. I want to read out what Watershead's
Good work.
typed in Twitch. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong about Shadow's argument. Shadow, that's the same logic people use in relationships when it comes to sex.
Thank you. Thank you for that comment. I don't have anything to say back to that.
I don't know. Anyway, why don't we get into the actual Q&A here and stop arguing and see what they actually have to say. I may have to drop the restream and switch to YouTube specifically because we're having bandwidth problems. I've dropped 3,600 frames. I don't think I have enough bandwidth right now.
Hashtag blame Shadow.
To multi-stream. It's still going, so if I'm gonna keep an eye on it. If it hits 5,000, we're gonna take a quick break and switch directly to YouTube.
Can you just have a quick look to AMD 64's got a message in Discord?
Okay. Give me a second here. Let me see. I will adjust things here. Go for it. Anyway. Not a good time to use Discord. I can't pay attention. I don't have enough monitors. Someone wants to buy me a 5th monitor, I can do Discord as well. But stop bothering me on Discord when I am trying to do a live show. There is a live chat specifically for that. Okay. Let's get into the mining and smithing rework before I blow my freaking brains out, shall we? Yes, good. Okay, so first up, some basic update planning announcements. Shattered Worlds will be delayed. It's not canceled though. So that was supposed to be a summer event coming, where it was kind of like a time trial event where you were going from world to world, similar to kind of like the Tuska event, and you were completing tasks or whatever. Or I really have no idea. Didn't really interest me specifically, but it's being delayed for some other. I think it's for another project. I can't remember the exact project. Let's see here. Skilling pets will replace the August time slots. Okay, that's what's replacing Shattered Worlds. So we're getting skilling pets in August. Everything's good in the world. Everything's good. Right. There we go. Problem freaking solved.
That's excellent. I mean, it's not, but it is.
And that's going to be a fun little update. But I mean,
sure.
That's what it is. It's the
what else would be a fun little update? But freaking artisan skills to 120.
If I can just say,
I agree.
If I can just say to go forward on that skilling pet, they're still not sure if they're going to be able to do it as an override.
Okay.
So skillers are going to get their pets, but you're not going to be able to override it because animations are hard.
Yeah, animations are hard. My goodness.
It's not often you get frustrated with Jagex, but when you do.
I wish my upload was double my download. That's pretty sweet, Zenel. Anyway, we might have to drop this stream and switch over to YouTube directly because I am still dropping frames. Let me know how it is on everyone else's end there. I can't imagine it's very pleasant. If it's real bad, let me know. Just more editing for me after the fact. Let's see here. So this gives us more time to make other updates, included Shattered Worlds better. So look, maybe there was some development issues in Shattered Worlds that threw people off there. Streaming in 144. All right, give me a second here. I'm gonna just hang tight, everyone. If you are not on our YouTube live stream, you can go to magebit.tv. But I have to stop multi-streaming because clearly the multi-stream servers are sucking balls. The magebit.tv is where we will be. So give me a second here. I'm gonna switch off. Wonderful. Fucking wonderful.
Technical difficulties.
Yep.
Hashtag blame Shadow.
It's good stuff.
Why me? Why is it always me?
It's usually Avanik we
There we
blame.
We
Yeah, but Avanic's
should
not here.
we should be coming back out very shortly. So we can continue on here. So let's just see if we continue to drop frames off of Restream likes to drop frames every now and again, which is frustrating. But
Is it your fault or their fault?
No, it's their fault.
It's
it is their
never
fault.
Mage Bit's fault.
Well,
It's
I'm
the
dropping
host.
0 frames now that I'm on only YouTube, so I would pretty much say that makes it their fault. It would be great if it immediately stopped dropping frames exactly after I said it. I can't freaking talk this early in the morning. I hate everyone. All right, let's continue on here with skilling pets. So skilling pets are to be released in August. As you interact with a skill, there's a random chance you will receive that skill's pet. It will just require animation and character work. Skilling pets placed on 3rd on the 2017 survey. So what? They just decided to do it in 2016 because it was so popular, I guess.
The question is, what's 2nd and 1st on the survey? I'd love to know that now.
They weren't going to tell us. They said they're holding that back. They're not going to let us know on that.
Yeah, they're saving that for
RuneFest.
RuneFest, which nobody's going to attend because nobody can get there.
Nobody can buy bonds for airplane tickets.
Yeah, no one's
Hey, did you get your bonds for 8 million the other day?
No, why did they sell?
Oh no, I don't know. It's just because I remember you were going to buy some. So.
No, I actually upped them to 9 million, and they still won't sell. So, but I'm going to leave them in at 9 million. I refuse to pay any more than 9 million, unless it's like a situation where I absolutely need a bond or something. Like, you know, if I need to renew like Rune Metrics or given a bond to get membership on my Iron Man or something, fine. But
Is Rune Metrics worth it?
I like it. I think it's worth it.
It looks cool, but I don't want to spend the money on it.
I wouldn't spend real money on it, but I would definitely spend bonds on it. Anyway, so let's get into the mining and smithing rework concept. So again, just a reminder, this is an early work concept. That nothing is final. Everything will most likely change. So first up, general information. The ETA for this is September. The goal is to make mining and smithing more enjoyable and align it better with other skills. Everything is subject to change, but we'll be very transparent with what's going on. Planned to make mining and smithing the highest tier content better than lower tiers, and XP rates should remain about the same at the same level because again, they're not going to bring it up to 120. So anyway, so they have some slides from the presentation available here that we can see here.
Yep.
But let's just continue on to existing gameplay, as this is mostly an audio show, not a visual one. So existing gameplay. Content related but isn't mining will generally remain the same. Rune high elk value will probably drop since rune will become more common, which is very I believe everyone was freaking out, right? Everyone was like panic sell all runite. Which is I honestly think is probably what is going to happen. Because runite is probably going to go in the trash. So if you have runite, elk it now, dump it now, do something with it because
But thank gosh, because rune, it's irrelevant. I mean, it's always been irrelevant. It's only there to elk.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the point. I mean that's what rune is exactly. I mean that's what keeps rune value up. Literally, the only thing maintaining runite's value is the high alchemy value of the item. If there was no high alchemy value on rune, it would probably be like 5 GP. I don't know. You know what I mean. But it would be it would be a little bit more than Adamat, you would assume.
I don't
That's
think
right.
it's gonna.
Yeah.
I don't think the rune ore is gonna drop as much as you think because rune is still gonna be available for free to play. It's just the higher ones that we're going into. It's not gonna be available for members. I think it's not gonna drop that much at all.
Yeah, it'll drop to elk value though. They reckon they're
Well,
going
whatever
down from
elk value
tier
is.
90. Exactly.
They said they're going to
They go
lower
from
elk
tier
value.
90. Exactly. They said that you've got a tier 90, which is dropping down to a tier 50. So they're going to have to change the elk value accordingly. So, if it's dropping 40%, I could see at least 40% drop in the elk value.
Indeed. And greetings, Yuki Dosato. Excuse me. Let's see
You beat
here.
Salto.
Existing. Excuse you. That's somebody's name, DX. Be a little more sensitive to how people make their names. Wow.
DX. We love you, DX.
There you go.
Yes, he's kind of like the slow cousin at the back of the bus. Just he's here for entertainment value.
There we go. Just look at the name. Ukulele
You
is
just
the
gotta- you just
Salto
got-
RS. So it's basically
You
a mix
just gotta-
between
you just
ukulele
gotta
and
cl-
Donatello.
You just got to clean the window when he gets out of the bus, right?
Yeah. Mhm. There's a little bit of drool on it. Anyway, mining rework concept. We're going to start with the mining rework concept. The slides will cover most of the information, but he's going to expand on it below. Considering, I mean, we can go through the slides if I find this information to be insufficient. But let's see here. So he wants to encourage a more positive engagement with mining. Someone's been visiting the Living Rock Caverns, and making it predominantly AFK, which is what everybody wants these days. Is everything AFK. I'm literally, yeah. Well, that's everything has to be AFK these days. Which I mean, I don't know, and I guess it's not easy to make mining interesting, but I don't know. I'm sick of EasyScape. I'm really sick of EasyScape. Go ahead, Shadow.
I know. I'm gonna be honest here. I hate mining one rock and having to move on to the next one. I really do hate that.
Yeah, but yeah, I get that. I do understand that it gets kind of annoying when you're constantly that's what the Living Rock cameras are for, like those
but
deposits.
it takes forever to freaking get there. I'm like,
It really doesn't.
I'm
No, it
66.
doesn't.
Okay.
There's
Well,
heaps of
you know
mining
what?
spots where you can level up your bloody mine and skill your lazy bum.
Just because you decided to handicap yourself on an Iron Man account, you're limited to your own skills. You only have you to blame that it takes that long to get there.
But again, on my Iron Man, my mining is at 91. It wasn't hard to get up to level 75 to get down to the caves and do.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it was hard at all. I mean, especially with drop mechanics these days. Oh, so easy. Anyway, are we done? Are we done making fun of Shadow? Shall I move along here?
I don't think we'll ever be done making fun at Shadow.
Oh, he says DX the LB.
DX is just happy he's got someone else to pick on today. That's always him normally.
You watch it, Pern. You're next. I've already gotten my humiliation out of the way for I think the entire year with that map debacle.
Yeah, that's funny.
Cole won't be as influential, which is I like that. I really like the fact that we're gonna dial down
Call to make something.
Well, yeah, it's super annoying. You think it's just like, oh, it's like you can make like 4 bars in inventory. That is stupid. That needs to change. Like when you're dealing with higher level ore, and that was really kind of. Oh, go ahead.
That's why I have a coal bag. You can make 9 Addy with a coal bag.
Oh, 9. Yeah. But I mean, there was kind of like how do I put it? I don't know. It was nice back in like RuneScape Classic when Rune was actually rare and whatnot, and it was like, ooh, like you can only make 4 bars per inventory, but you only need so much of those bars to actually make millions of gold back then.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays it's just like like I should be able to make at least like 14 of these. So yeah, they also mentioned on top of that is they might make ore stackable, which would only limit then how many bars you create, as bars would not be stackable.
In my opinion, that can't happen. They should not. They should not make all ore stackable. They was talking originally about coal making it stackable. That can't happen because there'd be too much of it, and coal will become dead on the GE. You can't have it like that.
Pretty
It's
much.
already gonna become down this update.
I think it already is.
It is.
But,
If you just go and fight the God Wars Dungeon 2 bosses, and I spent an hour down there, and I come up with almost 100k coal.
Yeah, but the problem is changing and making coal potentially stackable. That's a problem.
I don't think that's going to change much with portents.
Well, what about
coal is
what do you
anything's-
call it? The magic note paper as well. That'll make that useless as well if it's all stackable as well. That could make
And
that
rock
useless.
house or whatever. Whatever you want
there's
to
a
use.
bajillion other uses for magic note
Yeah,
paper. I
that's
don't
true.
think people are wasting magic note paper that costs at least
People
1k
aren't-
each on a piece of coal.
Well, I'm just pointing
People
it
aren't
out.
smithing coal to sell it. They're not mining coal to sell it. They're mining it to quick drop it until they get to the concentrated gold. And then they
Nobody
drop
mines
that.
coal to sell it. Like you're
No.
not making a profit off of coal. Coal is so you can just get up high enough to mine gold, and then you're dropping that as well. Like
Yeah.
there's no one is mining any of that for any sort of profit. I mean, the people who are selling coal are the people who are getting hundreds and thousands of coal from boss
Drops.
monsters. Those are the people who are selling coal, and because they already have it noted in their inventory and whatnot. So I mean, I think you're a little out of touch from as far as where coal actually goes, because most of it goes on the ground. So I don't think stackable ore would be a horrible like a bad thing necessarily. Again, with Signs of the Porter and people also just dropping it, because I mean, also who's gonna waste a Sign of the Porter on a piece of something that's worth like 200 GP each? Like that's even though what?
I thought it was like 50, but I haven't been on my main in like a year, so I'm probably out of touch with prices a little.
Yeah, Cole.
It went down, but it's
has had
a
its
bit.
it's had its ups and downs. Last time I checked, it was about it was around 200, like 195, 150, 200, somewhere in that area. But I'll check just to double check and see what the actual GE mid price is. It's 196 right now, so
Okay.
and that's a drop of 9 GP. So it's been fairly steady around 150 to 200. Someone already bought a lot of coal from the GE for 4 GP each. Sure, it's all panic, but it reflects the future. Yeah, it certainly does, Senel. That is crazy though. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine everyone's probably high alking all their stuff now before the the high elk gets nerfed as well. I mean, it's a scary world. When they do stuff like this, because nobody knows exactly how the market's going to react. But anyway, they want to change up the levels here, of course, as well, including bringing pretty much everything down and then adding some new wars in. So iron goes to 10, coal to 20, mithril to 30, atom to 40, rune to 50, orichalc, which is dragon ore, to 60, necrite to 70, which is considered like Barrow's level, and themed, of course. Invictum ore to 80, and Ethereum ore to 90. And there's plenty of concept after that, and it all looks pretty sweet.
That's where we should go to the slides.
Yeah.
Yes, but again, we're not a video show. We are a
Technically,
podcast. Go ahead, Shadow.
I was gonna say, remember this ore that's tier 90 acts almost like hybrid armor, except for the fact that it's not hybrid. You get about an 8 level nerf from what you actually get out of whatever you make. So the tier 90 equipment will only be as strong as tier 82 equipment.
Yes. Okay.
So to keep in mind in notes.
Yeah. These outfits will not be their actual tier of smithing. They will have different combat values. Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
Okay, cool. Yes, indeed. They will like Ethereum ore is not tier 90, for instance. It'll probably be like what, like tier 82 or something.
82 or 83,
yeah,
I think.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. Okay. So there's some core mining changes, including rocks will have a capacity. This was interesting, and I was really, I don't know. I feel like they just decided to look at PVM and said, how can we take more PVM stuff and cram it down skillers' throats? Rocks will have a capacity, life points for rocks that will reward the player when they reach 0 capacity, aka you killed the rock. Great. Just what I was looking for. Individual per player to stray away from competition. That I'm okay with for the most part. So people don't have to worry about harmonized and stuff like that.
I can't wait to hear what the WWE response is to saying that we killed the rock.
More valuable input from DXLB. Pern, go ahead.
What that means also, though, they were talking about with their duel anywhere, you'll be able to sit there and duel for areas like mining and all that type of stuff. Well, that's just taken that away, hasn't it?
That's true. That is true. It's crushing Dave's dream there. Let's see here. Normal mining hits deal capacity damage and grant XP. Critical mining hits deal more capacity damage and provide an ore and grant more XP. Percent chance is based on your level and pickaxe. So again, it's an interesting concept where it's like, okay, so you don't actually get any ore from a normal hit, right? Like you have to deplete the rock to get any ore completely. Yes. You have to like kill the rock unless you hit a critical hit, then you do get a piece of ore. So it sounds like ore would be a lot less easy to obtain. XP not so much. Your XP is still going to be flying by, but actually obtaining the ore seems to be probably, from what I understand, on a level of rarity that you would assume it would take to mine a single piece of ore still, just without competition.
Didn't it used to be that way? I don't really know.
As far as mining has always worked from RuneScape Classic to present, you would miss constantly, and eventually once you did hit, you would get the ore out of the rock, gain XP, and then the rock would be depleted for everyone. And then Living Rock Caverns works on a different basis, works on more of a timer system where it doesn't matter who's necessarily mining it, everyone can mine it, but it then shuts down and then you have to move spots. It's like a node type deal. This is different than anything they've really done before. Well, and I don't hate it.
Yeah, if you sort of consider, similar to the Seren rocks where you get the corrupted ore occasionally, you sit there, you keep getting your XP drops, but then you occasionally get a corrupted ore to smith. I think it's sort of taken it to the next step above that one.
Yeah. I'm like I said, I don't know. I'm not against this idea for the most part. Mining is not, it's not where the money making is really going to lie, I guess. I also want to know what happens when the rock reaches zero capacity. I guess you just have to go to a different rock at that point.
Yeah, new rock. Yep.
I also want to know the new orcs going to be tradable.
We would assume so. They didn't mention that, I don't think, but I would assume that the ores are going to be tradable. I don't think they did. No. If I had to take a wild guess, I would assume that you can trade the ores. I would assume you could even trade the created items. But
I don't know about the master ones, but we're going to get to that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Now I'm unsure about as well.
Just before we do move on, when we talk about the pickaxes, just mute DX for a little while.
Wait, what? No, don't mute me because this is the fun part. Hey. No, this was the best part ever, especially the mod Shawnee was giggling like a schoolgirl when this came up.
Let's see here. So we're talking about pickaxes. Increased tier provides increased capacity damage. Rocks will have a hardness value, and pickaxe will have a penetration value. Yeah, Mod Shawnee could not handle his life.
Penetration's great.
So you're talking about pickaxes here.
We are,
Okay.
So the harder the rock, the better pickaxe would be obviously recommended. Similar to the system that works now, only it's a little more fleshed out.
The more virgin the rock, the harder your pickaxe needs to hit.
Yes. I'm glad they fleshed this idea out. Anyway, mining a higher hardness value than your penetration value results in less critical hits or XP per hour. So pickaxe styles are not available on launch, by the way. But they want to have normal, two-handed, and dual-wielding pickaxes.
Dual-wielding would be stupid as hell.
It will look stupid as hell.
I want to have the dual wielding pickaxes. That'd be. I
want to see like a double-ended pickaxe, like one on each end, so I can just like spin it around and mine multiple rocks at the same time.
Double penetration.
Front, behind.
You had to go there. I didn't even think about that. Maybe
I just said it. You did subconsciously. That's exactly what you were thinking.
I was gonna say like my subconscious probably thought that. I didn't think that though. So. With that being said, they also mentioned a two-handed pickaxe would be used for more XP, less actual ore, and a dual wielding. Dual wielding, more XP, less ore. Two-handed, more ore, less XP, and normal is going to be obviously a balance between the two. Those pickaxes sound like goofy and stupid, says Elite. Scrap, please. Yeah, it's not coming out on lunch, so it's not coming out at lunch. It's not coming out on launch, so plenty of time for them to rework that, I suppose. So now that we've talked about hardness and penetration, let's talk about mining shafts, shall we? So first up, it says, this is not planned, it's an idea that they had. And then there was a straw poll, and it was overwhelmingly positive, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I'll open up the straw poll here. Yeah, it was 81% of people liked the idea of the shaft. So it says here, yeah, the shaft is cool. An idea to provide risk versus reward for mining. The deeper you go, the higher quality the ore, but the more dangerous it becomes to survive. I love that idea. It adds like a mini game to mining, like the ultimate distraction and diversion, if you will. So I'm totally cool with having a dangerous mining shaft. Go ahead.
And that's how I'm gonna lose my Iron Man status, my hardcore status.
Yeah, right. You'll die in the mines.
That'd be depressing. Again.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. Moderator said that they would be doing precise pickaxes and heavy pickaxes or something on Reddit. That'll be if you have any sources, please link it. Anyway, let's continue on to smithing rework concept, shall we? So that was the mining portion of it. Again, I don't hate the mining portion of it, except I don't know. It's not exactly what I envisioned in my head.
Except hardness, penetration, and mining shaft.
It seems like every time I think of stuff, my ideas tend to be fairly on the same like page and wavelength as what gets produced. Not so much this time. Not so much this time.
Just for people who do use crystallize and such, they did mention that, and they said it's probably going to be sort of much the same. But they're not going to sort of adjust that too much with the new ores and such.
Gotcha.
And I'm assuming
it's
worth mining Cerenstone still.
I would assume so as well. Yes. So let's see here. Let's continue on to what happens to smithing. So again, The item tiers remove the grind and similar item reproduction, so they don't want you to end up with like 10,000 plate bodies or something, and then be like, okay, what do I do with this nonsense? Existing gear, bronze levels 1 through 9, iron 10 to 19, etc. So they're going to try to remove the grind from that. New gear will include 70 to 79, 80 to 89, and 90 to 99. So filling all the way up to the current 99. New items on release will include full helm, plate body, plate leg, shield, scimitar, and more if there's extra time. So that's just as far as these new objects go for the higher tiers above 50. On release, those are the items you will be able to see in game. More diversity will come later. They're just releasing basically a base set, if you will.
It
takes a large time.
Interesting.
Go ahead.
So I just find it interesting they're going a scimitar rather than a longsword. So trying to get diversity out there, which is good.
Yeah, I think people like scimitars more than longswords for the most part.
I like longswords.
I like scimitars. I think they're cool. They used to be like a nice balance between longsword and two-hander back in the way long ago times. So that's why I would always use a scimitar. That's how I learned to say scimitar. Yes. Elite chimes in and says, "I'm willing to discuss shafts, but I think it has to be done very carefully. Not a fan of making combat vital to top tier mining or having every important ore down in shafts so regular rocks are dead." That's a very valid point right there. Is not killing surface mining and also adding combat into mining. Like, is that there needs to be ways to obtain those same ores without putting yourself in a PVM situation, I think. Otherwise, we've just turned this into like Slayer 2.1. Like, I'm not exactly even sure.
Living Rock Caverns 2.1. 2.0.
Yeah, to an extent, I suppose so. That makes a little more sense.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
Feel free to tweet me at RS Weekly PS Ninja. Let's see here. So where was I? Standard smithing, I suppose. So standard smithing XP drops will be increased. Rate of smithing will slow down. Bars will require more ores to create, and new tiers of bars will require secondary ingredients that may not be ores or bars. So that's an interesting thought there. Again, how much you want to bet it's dropped for monsters that requires PVM?
No, well, how about, maybe they're saying secondary ingredients. Maybe with one of the new Invictium ores, you need 5 rune bars with it at the same time.
Sure, to keep rune values up.
Keep rune and value. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's a smart idea right there. I like that. I like that a lot. Signage says, in reality, it will more likely be something like precision pickaxe or something that has the same effect. So interesting. And masterwork smithing, which really I kind of stopped the grumpy cat look that I had on my face this entire live stream when I heard about masterwork smithing.
This is cool.
Affects new 70+ smithed items, takes items from normal smithing and used to create those unique bars. Items made from these bars could have set effects, perks, or other benefits, and produced items could be augmentable. So again, to go back on what Pern said, go ahead. Yeah, I think you might be right.
When they said could be augmentable, I thought they said will be, but he's got could be augmentable. So.
I'm sure they will be augmentable. Yeah. It's just,
He said will. He said they will eventually be augmentable, maybe not on release.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought he said. So yeah.
I guarantee you they will not be augmentable on release. They can barely squeeze out the full set of weaponry. Forget adding augments to them and balancing all that nonsense. Right? But yeah. Anywho,
if I could just Elite Power says he's willing to discuss shafts, but thinks it has to be done very carefully. Not a fan of making combat vital to top tier mining or having every important ore down shafts so regular rocks are dead. I think that is. I mean, it gives those skillers something to do. And then if those combat people don't want to get their mining and smithing up, then they can purchase that off the skillers who have done that and taken the risk to go down and get those mines. So I think they really should look at doing that and bringing life back for skillers.
What's this going to do with ports is my question, because the Sea Stingers, or not Sea Stingers, will be fine, I guess, in Death Loadies, but what about Tetsu?
I don't know.
It's going to be worthless.
Why worthless?
Because why would you do all the ports to get tier 80 gear when you can just mine and smith?
85. That's tier 85
gear.
And no, but it's tier 82 or tier 83. But this is tier 85 gear that is.
And it's also tank armor. Keep that in mind.
Yep.
Oh, and it's tier 85.
It's tier 85.
Ports is tier 85, and also it is tank armor. We're unsure if this is going to classify as power or tank or hybrid or what, or maybe it just doesn't fall under one of the normal classes. I don't know. Maybe it has no bonus whatsoever
I'd say
unless it's a masterwork item.
Yeah.
We don't know the actual details here, so we can't. I wouldn't necessarily
would
be
you call
too worried
Rune?
about.
Would you call Rune a power armor or
No,
tank
it's
armor?
just basic armor. It has
Exactly. That's what's
Yeah,
be.
I think standard versions of these armor will just be basic armors, whereas Masterwork may have bonuses that go beyond that. Elite just found something interesting. He said, wait. The RuneScape account retweeted the pictures of the armors again and renamed the Invictum armor to Celestine, maybe? I don't know. Celeste Pizzas? I don't know. But that's weird. See, like, this is how much up in the air, like, all of this is nobody knows what anything truly even is yet. Like, there could
I also want to jump on to what Elite's saying about the Invictum thing. I've just had a look at the screen grab from the slides. It looks similar to the OR. What do you call it? The overrides that you put on, say, I think it's Barrow's gear, or maybe some Godball's gear and the Dragon gear. It looks similar to that.
Interesting.
If you guys have got the OR stuff, the OR, I can't remember what it's called, but
Yeah,
if you've got that, it looks similar to it. It really does.
Interesting. I'm trying to find out what rune falls under here, because Yuki Desato says it is technically tank armor. Things that are made from ore or hide are generally tank armor. I've never really thought of rune as tank armor, just because it's so weak. But
maybe it'd be better off being free to play tank gear.
I suppose.
But what would be free to play power gear?
Well, why do they don't necessarily get both sides of everything?
Dagonoth rock shells and things like that.
Dagonoth's members.
Tier 55.
The wiki page does not call it tank gear, but again, I can't be 100% sure, as I'm not really much into PVM, as you may have heard or noticed from that rant pre getting into this. Anthony C says, I do not want this rework. This would be horrible. I'd love to hear your elaboration on that, as far as, do you think that they've gone in the wrong direction, or what don't you like about this? Because there are lots of things that I don't like about this, but I may have very different reasonings. As far as I wanted to see this much more involved. I wanted to see this to be a real moneymaker for skillers in the long run, and it just doesn't look like it's going to have a lot of survivability unless these items degrade to dust, which they more than likely will not, or even degrade at all. Elking is never a way that you should have to make money, in my opinion. I know people use it to make money off of like drops that they get, but it should not be your primary source of income per se. If I'm taking the time to mine these and make these, and I've wasted an entire day producing sets of these masterworked armors, I should be rewarded. I should be able to make 15, 20 million gold a day if I put 8 hours of work in a day, and that's how I feel. I feel like skillers have no reprieve. They have no way to practice their trades and make a viable living in the game. And that's why I was hoping this would go in a very different direction, in a more resource and user intensive direction, to make it viable and also make it fair for people who PVM and have to pay attention for the most part and actually play the game, opposed to what they've turned mining into is even more AFK than before. Like, I don't know. I'm mildly frustrated.
Anthony C says smithable T90. What the fuck? Like, come on. That is the best idea for an all-round game. We don't want this game based solely on combat. We want to have skillers being able to make things and have PVMers come to skillers to buy their armor. That would be the best way.
This game has gotten so far up its own ass with PVMing being completely self-sustainable that never has this been the case until within the past couple of years, maybe a few years, maybe longer than that. But every other game, or even before this, when this game actually had a viable skilling system in it still, you could only do PVM for so long before you needed to stop and actually go like fish again, or you have to spend a good chunk of your loot on getting food or potions or whatever you needed back, or at least spend your own time creating those items, being a hybrid between PVM and skilling. And that's just not the case anymore. Like high level PVM just provides you with everything you need to go in an infinite loop, and I think that's unhealthy for the game's economy. As far as just it's too easy to just dump gold in repeatedly over and over and over again.
While we're still on the mining and smithing thing, I need to correct myself. It was not the OR gear that I was thinking of. It's the Dragon Bone gear, which is similar to what the Invictum gear is.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'll post a link. I'll post a link in the YouTube thing so you can see what I'm talking about. What happened there? My screen just jumped on me.
I don't necessarily disagree, Anthony, that some of these armors, especially the tier 80 plus versions of these armors, should be degradable and have repair costs, but they also will not have. You have to understand, tier 90. Like we'll call it Ethereum for now because that's what it's listed as here. But tier 90 Ethereum armor is not going to produce a tier 90 item. It's going to produce a tier 82 or 83 item. So we're not looking like all of a sudden smithers can create items that are on par with stuff dropped from Araxi and Virago and Rots and stuff like that. What? Good, Jen?
And I don't think they should be able to. Absolutely not. I mean, it's good that it's like this because
with this system, no, not at all. Because that'll be way too easy for them to drop goods like that. And this is again why I didn't want to see it go in this direction, because I wanted smithers. Mining, whatever. Mining, I can live with what they've done to mining. Smithing, on the other hand, I really am not happy with, because I wanted to see a difficult smithing system for the masterwork side at the very least. Standard, whatever, but the masterwork side, if you're truly a master and you're creating these items that have set effects and stuff like that, it should require a much more level of in-depth work there and giving them some actual value.
If I can throw one thing out there, now that they are bringing this in, what I would love to see on new bosses going forward is you need Ethereum armor, and then the bosses drop things that lift it to the tiers that you want, or have those, make it a power armor, gives it some sort of boost. So you attach what you get from a boss drop, which will still be sellable, so everyone can do it, but it'll make it a better armor. And this is what I know it's not going to happen, but I would love to see them do it that way.
Yeah, I would like to see more things along the lines of components that are then are dropped maybe from combat, but then maybe require a smith at the very least, the assistance of a smith, things along those lines.
That's it. So you've got your base armor of the Ethereum or this the whatever it is, that dragon one, but you get the attachments from boss drops, which increases it to the better armor, and keep it totally tradable, so that that way both skillers and PVMers can make money.
Just one thing. Sorry, how are you supposed to walk around in that Ethereum gear anyway? It looks so thick, man. You wouldn't be able to walk. A, you wouldn't be able to walk, and B, you wouldn't be able to see.
Because magic. Yep. Simply put. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see the Artisan's Workshop more like what Masterwork Smithing should have to be. Like, you should have to put that level of work into smithing, so it takes up a buttload of time and only produces one piece of armor after all that, which is why the prices would be up, because it would take so much manpower to create one piece.
That's the way it should be done. That is the way it should be done.
Not to mention the ingredients that would be required for mining and possibly other sources as well. So, I mean, this is unfortunately where I think that they have gone a little wrong here. But that's that. I mean, this is very early stage. Like they said, so much of this is changeable, and
they could scrap the whole thing.
They
can't scrap the whole thing now. It's coming out in 3 months. They can't scrap it now.
Yes,
no, you're wrong.
They literally have nothing created DX but the names of the armor and concept art. There's nothing to scrap. Everything is still on paper. Like, they haven't made any of this.
They could start this. They could actually make it to September, test it out, and then figure out that it all fucking sucks and throw it in the garbage.
I wouldn't be surprised if this got delayed. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this got delayed.
No, 3 months, right?
It doesn't sound like they absolutely know where they even want to go with this idea, and I wouldn't be surprised if
I like them.
I do like the shaft idea. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, so that's the mining and smithing rework. We got to keep moving along here.